Good morning, students. Good morning to all. And last day we have studied about the wages and the meaning of wages and the kinds of wages. And in these wages, the many theories are available. So we have studied one of the theory, the subsistence theory of wages. Today also just we will remind about the subsistence theory of wages and we will go to the next concepts. Subsistence theory of wages. The subsistence theory of wages is one of the oldest theories of wages. It was first explained by the Physiocrats, a group of French economists, and it was restated by the David Ricardo. After restated this theory only, this theory was got the full form. So according to this theory, wages must be equal to the subsistence level of the laborer and his family. So what's the meaning of subsistence level? The subsistence means the minimum amount of food, clothing and shelter which workers and their family require for existence. The laborer and his family, if they want to existing or survive in this world, they need some amount of the money. So the wages must be equal to that amount of money only. When they are going to the work, they will get some amount of the wages, but the wages must be equal to their subsistence levels. So the way by using these wages, the laborer and his family only can spend to purchasing the food, cloth and shelter only. Why the wages has to be provided as the equal to the subsistence level mean? If workers are paid higher wages than the subsistence level, the workers would be better off and they will have large families. Suppose if the laborer getting the more wages than their subsistence level, their family will go to the succeed and their family also will be enlarged, and because of that the populations also may have the chance to increase. Suppose if the populations is increased, what will happen? So the laborer, the amount of or the number of laborer also will be increased. And if the laborer, the number of laborer is increased means the wage level will be decreased. So because of that, all the labor will not be able to spend the money for the subsistence level. Suppose they will not able to spend some amount of the money to purchasing their subsistence level. So only the Ricardo and the Pisocrats considered to providing the amount of wages only equal to their existence amount. Otherwise, the population would increase when the population increases. So on the other hand, if wages are lower than the subsistence level, there would be a reduction in populations and thereby the supply of labor falls and wages also increases to the subsistence level. Suppose if you are providing the low wages than the subsistence level, what will happen? So the laborer, the number of laborer will be decreases, and because of that the wages also will be increased by the union or the laborer itself, and because of that the wage rate also will be increased produced by the producers. So even if you are giving the more wages than their subsistence levels, it will be creating the problems, and if you are providing the less wages than their existence level, it will be also creating some of the problems. So if the wages must be equal to their existence level, if they are providing the existence level, if they are providing the wages equal to their existence levels only, the labor also will be conducting their lives and the producers also will not be worrying about the increasing the wage rate. So this theory is closely associated with the Malthusian theory of the populations. I think you will never knows about the Malthusian theory of populations. According to the Malthusian theory of populations, what Malthus was told us mean. So whenever the population going to increase, on the basis of increasing the populations, we have to produce more. Otherwise, all the increased populations will fall down in the poverty situations. If they are protecting the peoples, increase the peoples, we must increasing the supply of commodities on the basis of increasing the population levels. So it also, this theory also mostly associated with the Malthusian theory. So if the labor, if the population is increased, the wages also increase. If the population is less, if reduced, the wage rate will be increased. So this theory holds that the wages of workers would not be above or below the subsistence level of the laborer and his family. So in this theory, many of the criticisms are found. So what is the criticism are there? Mean the role of trade unions in collective bargaining was not found. So normally some of the laborer are there, or some of the laborer are existing in our nations mean one of the trade union also will be created. So if the trade union is there, so the trade union also will come to bargaining to increasing their wage rate from the producers. But this trade union, about the trade union is not found in this theory. Next, this theory does not explain the differences in the wages in different occupations. If there is different type of the occupations, the different type of the wage rate also will be there. So on the basis of the occupations and on the basis of the productivity of the labor only, the wage rate will be determined. But the productivity and the difference in the wages from the different occupations also does not explain. Next, the assumptions the populations would increase with the rise in wage rate is not correct. Because if you are seeing in our places, most of the poor families also will have more children, and some of the rich family also will have one or two children only. So from here we can understand the wage rate will never determine the family size. So this theory is also failed to explaining the wrong information. Okay student, the next today we will go to the another one of the theory, the standard of living theory of wages. The standard of living theory of wages developed by the Torrance. It is an improved and refined version of the subsistence theory of wages. The Torrance also developed one of the theory, the standard of living theory of wages. This theory is the improved and the refined version of the subsistence theory of wages. So according to this theory, wage is equal to the standard of living of the workers. If standard of living is high, the wage will be high. And if the standard of living is low, the wage rate also will be as low. So according to this theory, the wage rate is equal to the standard of living of the workers. Standard of living of the workers mean if any of the workers will have high standard of living, that labor only have to get more wages. If the standard of living is very poor from any of the worker side, this worker must be get the low wage rate. The standard of living wage means the amount necessary to maintain the laborer in the standard of life to which he is accustomed. That means after spending their subsistence level, if they want to increase their purchasing power, if they want to increasing their living standard, for that they will spend some amount of the money. So the wage rate also have to be as equal to the spending more amount of their increasing living standard. But normally most of the peoples will be increasing their standard of living on the basis of their wage rate only. So normally if the peoples are going to the work, what will happen? So how income they are going to get, on the basis of their income only their living standard will be increased. But this theory told us on the basis of their standard of living only, so the wage rate will be determined. So if the peoples want to improve their standard of living, otherwise on the basis of in which level the laborer being, on the basis of their living standard only the wage rate is going to provide. So this theory also has one of the criticism. So what criticisms there mean? So according to this theory, the standard of living determines wages, but in actual practice the wages determine the standard of living. This theory told us the standard of living determines the wages. Okay, but normally which one will be determine the standard of living? The wage rate only will be determine the standard of living. If you are getting more wages, we can easily spend more amount. We can have the power to spending more amount, and our purchasing power also will be increased, and because of that our standard of living will be increased automatically. But on the basis of this theory, if you have more living standard, so you will get more wages, but it is not correct, right? Next, another one of the theory in wages, the wage fund theory of wages. Wage fund theory. According to this theory, first who was developed this theory means this theory was first propounded by the Adam Smith, but this credit goes to the J.S. Mill. J.S. Mill only perfected this theory after the Adam Smith. So according to Mill, every employer will keep a given amount of capital for payment to the workers. So this amount only is considered as a wages. Normally if the producers or the employer always will have some amount of the money to providing the laborer or the factor of productions for their workers production purpose. So like that the labor also will have the rights to get the remunerations from the producers for their workers. Normally, except the workers, the productivity of the labor or the standard of living or their existence level. So every labor will have some of the power or rights to get the remunerations. Because of that, the employer or the producers also will have to keep some amount of the money as readily. So every employer will keep a given amount of capital for payment to the workers. If any of the employer or if any of the producers going to spend some amount of the money to produce any of the commodities, they will have he will have more amount of money for the purchasing of raw materials or the production purposes and purchasing many of the day by day activities, and along with the expenditures he will have some amount of the money for providing the remunerations for their workers. That amount of money held by the employer only is considered as a wages. So it is known as wage fund theory. It is fixed and constant. So normally he will have deposited in their bank for the purpose of providing the remunerations for their workers. So we can consider this amount, the wage fund theory. The wage fund is a fixed and constant. So the wages depend directly upon the fund and inversely with the number of laborers employed. If the employers are having some amount of the money as a fixed and constant on the basis of supply or on the basis of increasing the supply, it will be change, right? Normally, if any of the employer having some amount of the money for providing the laborer, and suddenly if the demand is increased, on the basis of increasing the demand, the supplier also or the producer also have to increasing the supply. So the supplier must be increasing the labor to increasing the supply of commodity. So when the labor is going to increase, the fixed amount also will be changed. But this theory told us what this wage fund always it's a fixed and constant. But the wages always directly depend upon the fund and inversely with the number of laborers employed. So if the number of laborer is going to increase, the fixed amount held by the producers also will be changed. The average wages of a worker can be calculated by using the formula. So average wage per workers will obtained by total wage fund dividing the number of workers. So on the basis of increasing the number of workers, the total wage fund also will be increased. Then average wage per workers will be obtained. If the number of workers increases, the wage per worker would fall. And if the number of worker decreases, the wage per worker will be increases. But the productivity of labor may be depend upon their future of works only. So here also some of the criticism are there. So what are the criticism means? First one, it does not explain the difference in the wage in the different occupations. So this theory also will not explain the differentiations from the different occupations, because different occupations the employer or the laborer in different occupations will get the different type of the wage level. So even if you are considering any one of the organizations, more people will be there, the manager, board of director, and the laborer and the sweepers, but all the laborer will never get the same level of wages. Next, it ignores the role of trade union. So normally this wage fund also did not explain about the trade union. If the number of laborer are existing in our nations, the trade union also will be created. The trade union also will come to bargaining to the employer to increasing the wage rate, but it does not explain. Next, actually the capitalist will take away a large sum before making the payment of wages. So the capitalist always will take away the large sum before making the payment of wages. So before making the payment of wages, he will spend more amount of money for their production purposes. Next, another one of the theory, the residual claimant theory. The residual claimant theory was propounded by F.A. Walker, he is the American economist. So he was written one of the book, The Political Economy. So in his book, he was explained about the wages, the theory of wages, the residual claimant theory of wages. So according to this theory, the wage is the residual portions after paying the remuneration of all the other three factors, land, capital, and organizations. So according to this theory, wage is the residual portion. The residual portions mean the remaining amount of money. So the producers always will be use some amount of the labor factor of production for their production purposes. The land, labor, capital, organization. So after paying the remunerations of other three factors, the land, capital, organizations. So after paying the remunerations for all other factors, if the producers have some amount of remaining money, that remaining money only is considered as a wages. So this theory also have one of the criticisms. What are the criticism means? This theory does not explain the role of trade unions can secure higher wage of workers. So normally all the factor of production can have the right to getting the remunerations in the form of prescribed method. But according to this theory, if the residual portions, that is the remaining portion only is considered as a wages. But if the producers suppose does not have the possible to having the remained portions or the residual portions, so the wages the laborer will not get the possible to get the remunerations. So the trade unions also will not be allowed to for that. Next, demand side of labor in the determination of wages needs to be considered. Demand side mean even so already we have studied all the factor of production is important to produce any of the commodities. But if the laborer did not allow or did not come to the work, so the product will not be produced. And not only that, the demand side of the labor also did not considered. Suppose if the labor is increased, the wage rate may be reduced. The demand, the number of labor is increased, the wages will be increased. So it is not explained. Next, another one of the theory, the marginal productivity theory of wages. Already we have studied about this theory in the beginning itself. So the application of general theory of distributions to wage fixation is the marginal productivity theory of wages. So according to this theory, this theory explains how the prices for the factor of production is determined. In which basis the factor of production is going to determined. So like that or on the basis of that, so the wages also will be determined on the basis of their productivity. So according to this theory, the wages are determined by the marginal productivity of labor and this is also equal to at the point of equilibrium. So if the producers are arranged some amount of the labor and the labor also will going to get their remunerations on the basis of their productivity only. So every labor also will have that different type and different productivity. Suppose one of the labor can able to work more hours and some of the workers will be done some of the work by less hours. So on the basis of the productivity of the labor only, the labor will get the remunerations in the form of wage. So under perfect competition, the wage is paid equal to the marginal product of labor. But in real world, where there is imperfect competitions, there is exploitation of labor and the wage is less than marginal productivity of labor. So on the basis of the marginal productivity mean already we have studied on the basis of increasing labor, the producers can able to increasing the amount of total product or the total product also will be increased. So on the basis of marginal productivity of the labor only, they will get the wages. So we have studied the 5 type of theories only for the wages. First one is subsistence theory of wages. Next standard of living theory of wages. Next wage fund theory of wages. Next residual climate theory of wages. After that marginal productivity theory of wages. So next topic is interest. So this is also one of the distributions form. The interest. Who will get the interest? The capital only will get the interest. So generally speaking, the interest is a payment made by a borrower to the lender for the money borrowed. Normally what we will say about the interest, so the interest is the payment by a borrower to the lender. If any of the people, if any of the individual persons are borrowing some amount of money from any one of the financial institutions, they will get some of the interest for the purpose of rendering the money. But in economics, the meaning is some different. So the interest is the reward paid by the borrower to the lender for the use of capital. So the producers must be need of having some amount of the capital. Without capital, so started the industry is not possible one. So we will get the money or we will borrow the money from any of the financial organizations. So by this money only we will make some amount of capital. So this capital also will get some amount of some reward by using the capital. So interest is the reward paid by the borrower to the lender for the use of capital. So Alfred Marshall t- tells about the interest. That is, the interest is the price paid for the use of capital in any market. In any market, if you are considering any of the market, we will be in need of capital. So by using this capital, so the producers or that person must be providing the reward. So that reward only is considered as a interest. Next, okay student. So today I think it's enough. If you have any doubt from my take in the subject, just please ask me and just take the 5 theories of wages as your study portions, because the 5 theories also may be very easy, you can easily understand. Okay, thank you.